A bowl of soup costing $70. Probably the most expensive soup in the world. For some people, no wedding, banquet, or business meeting happens without it.
Federal agent, search warrant.
But in some parts of the world, getting the ingredients means committing a crime. 70 million sharks a year, many of them endangered species, are butchered alive for shark fin soup. The cost to our oceans is ecological disaster, just for a bowl of soup. Steve Galster is a wildlife crime investigator. He tracks down illegal traders and works with international law enforcement agencies to crack down on the trade in endangered species. But there's one species many people wish Steve wouldn't bother saving. For some, the only good shark is a dead one, and the sooner it's safe to go back in the water, the better. But Steve believes sharks are misunderstood. They don't deserve their bad press.
Like most people, I've never really been fond of sharks. My first experience with sharks was probably like a lot of people. I saw them being depicted as man-eaters in the movie Jaws. And I remember being afraid to go back in the water. Then much later in life, I learned to become a diver. And you observe different kinds of sharks and realize that most sharks are not man-eaters. Now I can't wait to go diving. And when I do, the first thing I want to see is sharks.
In fact, only 7 types of shark are any threat to us at all. And no species of shark deliberately targets humans.
Whether you like them or not, sharks are important for all of us because they are the top predator in the ocean. They help regulate the ecosystem. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that disrupting the ecosystem, pulling one species out, could unravel it, and eventually has an impact on another species, which is us.
Keeping the balance in the oceans is crucial, but in 20 years' time, there may be none of these magnificent animals left. In the past 50 years, shark fishing has soared. More than 70 million sharks are needlessly slaughtered every year. In 10 years' time, many could be extinct. And the way sharks are killed is horrific. Their fins are cut off while the animal is still alive. Then the mutilated animal is often tossed back to drown. It's called finning, and in much of the world it's illegal. But finning for soup remains a multi-billion-dollar business. Steve wants to expose the big dealers who make fortunes from this cruel trade that means the end of the line for sharks. Taiwan is one of the world's major shark fin clearinghouses. Although Taiwan is not party to CITES, the country does have laws to regulate shark fishing, but they rarely seem to be enforced. Steve is heading for the obvious place to start his investigation, a dock where sharks caught in Taiwanese waters are landed. He wants to find out if dock workers here are involved in live finning. By 7:30 in the morning, 300 sharks are lined up for auction, all of them complete with fins, all above board, and perfectly legal. A team then has the task of gutting and finning the day's catch. It's a messy business. Steve has been invited to join one of the crew for lunch.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Steve.
Mr. Chen started at the docks when he was 13. He has been gutting sharks for 30 years. Each day he washes down a shark lunch with local brew.
Is there a bone in there?
No bone.
No bone. Okay.
There's no waste. The feast includes skin, gill, and heart, but no fin. It's too expensive.
Some people, when they're catching a shark, for example, they just take the fin and throw the body back. What does he think about that?
報幾天都刺激。
你感覺行過嚟人其他國家是安尼？
有啊，真正有安尼哦，真正有安尼哦。
Does anybody bring only fins into shore, or do they have to bring the bodies also?
现在台湾政府规定是这样子的，有利用价值的，你都可以带回来。我说会。
Mr. Chen shows Steve round the docks. When he started here as a lad, the shark fishing business was booming.
起碼較輕鬆，較早攏愛做到11、12點啊，暗時啊11、12點，差不多23到24吧。
So just less fish coming in?
Less fish and smaller fish.
Less and smaller.
真濟人問我啦，你像拄啊，甲咱啉燒酒迄個阿輝啦，啊你要講教土地喎，我無教啦，做到我這。
Also, Mr. Chen believes he may be witnessing the last generation of sharks. But all this doesn't add up. How come Taiwan is the top fin dealer when they don't have many sharks of their own? It must mean they're coming from somewhere else.
On the trail of the tons of shark fins traded through Taiwan, Steve travels 9,000 miles. He's following a tip-off that illegally fished fins for Taiwan are coming from Costa Rica. He's working with a sea protection action group, Marviva.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, mucho gusto, Alejandro.
Mucho gusto conocerle.
Marviva takes care of air surveillance for the Coast Guard and monitors ships trespassing on Costa Rica's fishing grounds. Costa Rica's the only Central American country to make live finning illegal. No fins can be landed without their carcasses. But at thousands of dollars apiece, finning is very tempting. Just down the coast, they spot a Costa Rican boat with its lines set for shark fishing.
We got the coordinates there for the suspicious boat?
Sure, we have North 8, 23, 42.
An air-to-ship alert to a patrol boat, which heads out in chase of the suspect vessel. Steve's not far behind. He'll join the boarding party. If the Coast Guard finds fins without shark bodies to match, this boat will be impounded.
El capitán conmigo, por favor, a la cabina.
The crew stand to lose their livelihoods.
Contacto del capitán, por favor.
With the officials busy, Steve makes his own inquiries.
Hay tiburones en esta zona.
Ah, ya muy poco, ¿eh? Como había antes, ya no hay nada casi. Mucho barco taiwanés. Y botan aleta, el tiburón sin aleta, ¿no? Eso yo creo que está mal hecho. 4 años en Campallo taiwanés, Marine One, 4 años en Punta Arenas. Y ya estábamos cargados en la nevera de pescado. Cortábamos la aleta y botamos la poza. Y ahí me sentía mal, pero ahí tenía que hacerlo, porque no. O sea, no quería hacerlo, ¿eh? Pero había que hacerlo porque si no lo hacía no ganaba plata.
Todos los documentos están en orden.
Todo.
The paperwork seems fine, but it's what's in the ship's hold that counts.
Only one fish. I hear the same story from fishermen everywhere I go. Fish are getting scarce. And the same goes for sharks. There's a huge Taiwanese fleet out there, sucking up every shark in the ocean. I now know where some of Taiwan's imported fins are coming from. And with about 100 ships out there, it's gotta be a big business operation behind it all.
Steve's been directed north to Punta Arenas. It's a natural marina around a 7-kilometer sandbank, a mixture of public and private docks. The private docks are an ideal hideaway where international boats can offload. And Steve suspects they're landing fins illegally. He's teamed up with Randall Arouse. Randall's a firebrand conservationist. When his film about live shark finning was shown on Costa Rican TV, the public outcry forced the government to ban finning.
In the past, when we just started this campaign, I noticed that lots of people would just react like, you know, why save sharks? Sharks eat people. It would be a lot better if there were no sharks in the ocean. That way we can go swimming and not have to worry about a shark eating us. After we showed our footage of the shark being finned, the first reaction was, pobrecitos, poor things. Sharks are extremely important because of the role as predators. Once we wipe out the sharks, then we're eventually going to end up with much fewer fish. They call us the Talibans of the environment here because of our positions, but again, we just want laws to be respected, and we're not going to stop until we get that.
Like Steve, Randall's also focusing on Punta Arenas. At private docks, close to the public, he too suspects illegal fins are still being landed. One of the biggest, Marisco Wang, is run by Taiwanese businessman Fabio Wang. Randall suspects Wang's factory is handling fins for Taiwan, but he needs proof. Getting it is going to be difficult.
Some years ago, it was possible to come all the way up here, and you could definitely see what they were landing. But of course, now with this wall, and see, they got the razor wire there and everything, so, you know, to make sure nobody can try to sneak around there and try to get some footage anymore. So they're definitely covering their act a little bit more. You know, they're a lot more cautious. When they land shark fins, they tend to land the shark fins in the middle of the night.
In fact, Randall has shown Steve video evidence that shark fins are bagged up at night, somewhere in Punta Arenas.